crate. Alright everyone, so I know y'all just saw our boy Rocco not particularly loving the crate. So that's kind of what this video is about. It's kind of our process on how we got him to kind of just understand that the crate is not a bad thing. Because when we first got him for our training, that was the main reason he's here. You're going to see him pop up in other videos because he's kind of just reactive to everything on the walk. But this is the main goal for his people right now, is to kind of just get him to understand that the crate is not a bad thing. And he's a very insecure dog, so that's just kind of where this stems from. And his first reaction is going to be fight. Because if he's in fight or flight mode, his first reaction is fight. That's kind of what I mean by that. Alright, so before we really get into this, I'm going to explain a couple things. Two, he's here for quite a bit of time. He's here for over 3 months. Mainly because we want to take everything slow. We don't want to just overwhelm him with a whole bunch of new boundaries and structure. Because like I said, he's very reactive to dogs, kids, bikes, cars, people, the crate. So filling that all in 1 month is just gonna we want to make sure everything sticks. We want to make sure it just goes as smoothly as possible, like I was just saying. Now, having said that, I'm taking his crate drills and just breaking it down into much smaller pieces. What I mean is, if you notice in the beginning of this video, what I did is I just had him go in the crate. I said crate. He understands when I say that means to sit, and he understands that because I've been doing this for about a couple weeks now. And now what I'm doing is, well, before that, I'm just having him go in and out of the crate, because his body language would tell me once he goes in that crate, he is extremely stressed out. He stops panting, his eyes he gets whale eyes, and he's just very, very tense. So when he's tense, what I do at first, when I'd have him go in the crate without closing the door, I feed him. He's very food driven, so I'm just kind of building up a much better positive association than what he has with the crate. And then once I feel that he's okay to move on to the next phase of the crate, I am then closing the door. And what I would do before I'd even touch the first hook, I just close the door. And then I'd open it back up, feed him, and I just kind of repeat until once again his body language tells me that he feels a little bit more safer, a little bit more calmer in the crate. And then what I'm doing right now is what I moved on to, is I'm finally touching the first hook and closing it. And then if you notice, I did it a couple times and then I let him out, because even though I'm feeding him, when he's done eating, he's still tense. So then what me bringing him out of the crate is just kind of releasing tension. He kind of goes back to being how he is outside of the crate. Okay, so something that I want to point out that is very important. I want you to notice that I'm feeding him the same time every single time. What I mean is, when I open the crate door, I feed him. When I open the crate door, I feed him. That repeatedly, it could kind of come and bite you in the butt. And what I mean by that is, sometimes, so when I first started doing this with Rocco, it'd take like 20 to 30 minutes for us to actually be able to close the crate door without a reaction. Because that's the whole point. I want this to have no reaction. So if I get down to the second loop and he starts reacting, I'm going to start over, because I don't want to end on a note like that. I want to end on a positive note. So what I'm saying is, once I get past kind of all this and I'm getting no reactions, I wean him off the feeding. So what I'm saying is, sometimes I'll put him in the crate, close all 3 hooks, and then I'll walk away without feeding him. Sometimes I will feed him. Sometimes I'll do all 3 hooks, give him a treat, walk away. Sometimes I won't give him a treat and walk away. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want him to get used to not falling in the routine of doing this for 20 to 30, even 10 minutes. Because in reality, I might be in a rush, Annie might be in a rush, his owners might be in a rush. So doing that for that period of time is just not realistic, and I want to make sure he understands that. I want to set him up for success and not set him up for failure. So eventually I do wean him off that. And that's just kind of what I really wanted to point out, is just keeping him on his toes. But now, if you notice, I'm closing, at least I think now, because it slowed down the speed, I'm closing the second hook, because one, his body language is showing me that he's ready for it. And two, like I said, I'm trying to wean him off of doing this for an extended period amount of time. So like I said, I just feel like he's ready for it, so now we're moving on. So now I'm going to kind of do the same thing I was doing with the first hook, but only difference is I'm going to do it with 2 hooks now. Now, something else I want you to notice is that I'm not letting go of the hooks. Like, I grab it, as soon as I lock it, I unlock it, and then let him out. The reason why is because when I was doing this at first, when I let go of the hook, he would associate that with him just being locked in the crate. And I don't want him to think that I'm building up different associations with the crate. And like I said before, I'm really taking my time and breaking down every single thing that has to do with the crate into its own smaller piece, because he has no threshold with the crate. So I got to build that up. So eventually I do move on to being able to close the first hook, taking my hand away and standing there, going back down, opening the first hook, and just kind of repeating what I've been doing with the crate, like what you've been seeing, but just the only difference is I'm letting go of the little hooks. It's just all really smaller pieces, and it's just, for me and Rocco, it's just easier to do it that way. I'm trying to prevent the amount of reactions that could happen. Will there be reactions while I'm doing this, while this process is happening? Obviously, yes. And there is, after this video, me and Rocco do encounter him having to react, and we get through them. But like I just said, I'm trying to prevent it. I'm trying to make less reactions than there should be. And quite frankly, like, yes, I know there's other ways to do this. There's quicker ways to do this. But quite frankly, I don't really care, because this is what works for me and Rocco. And more importantly, this is what works for Rocco and his owners. And at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. Whatever works for you and your dog is what works. Keep doing that. You don't have to listen to other people saying that it's wrong. Listen to people saying that you should do it this way. If it works for your dog, stick to it. Something that people really tend to forget a lot is that every dog is different. Even if you've had the same breed for your whole life, each one of those dogs is different. They have their own personality, they have their own emotions, and they have a right to all of those emotions. So that whole cookie cutter idea of this is how you should train your dog, these are the specific tools that you should use to train your dog, just when you're working with us, just throw all those ideas out of the window. If we're working with your dog and the slip lead works, we're going to use that. If the prong works, we're going to use that. If the e-collar works, we're going to use that. Yes, me and Annie have our preferences to certain things, obviously, because we have our own opinions and ideas, but we're not going to tell you that the way you're training your dog is wrong if it works. Now, if it doesn't work, we might need to go back to the drawing board and figure something else out. Now, there also could be just a miscommunication, which is usually the reason why certain things are happening. But at the end of the day, whatever works for your dog works. And anybody that has something to say about that, just forget about them, because they're not working with your dog specifically. Even if they have had the same problems that you've been working with, because like with me and Annie, the dogs that we get usually have reactivity to dogs, but we approach them differently because of the reason why, which is why we call ourselves a psychology and relationship based training company, because one, we focus on the why. Your dog's reacting. Okay, why? Is it fearful? Is it insecure? Is it more of like a more confident dog? And depending on those answers, that's going to determine our approach to your dog. And we're a relationship-based training company because we focus on the relationship. Yes, you might be coming to us for reactivity on walks, but we're going to take a deeper look inside what's happening in the home, because your reactivity with your dog on walks, it has to do with your relationship with your dog. There's a miscommunication somewhere, and it's our job to find out what it is and to communicate it to you so you can communicate to your dog that there's no reason to have these certain issues that you guys are facing. All right, once again, sorry for the rant that I just went on, but it just kind of flowed into the video, so I hope it all makes sense. But as I was going on this rant, I hope you're noticing that I've been doing just the 2 hooks, and now that all his body language and his behavior has shown me that he's just a little bit more calmer and a little bit less stressed, I am now going to move on to the 3rd hoop. Now with the 3rd hoop, with this time, what I do is I just close it and then I walk away. I grab the phone. I then grab the food that has the cup that has the food in it, and then I just leave. There's some times where I might reopen it and feed him, but that goes back to what I was saying earlier in the video of me kind of just keeping him on his toes and feeding him at different times. So here's that. I'm walking out, grab the food cup, and then I leave. And then this next clip is about a month down the road of what it kind of turned into is me just being able to close the crate without any food and then walking away. So yeah, and that's really the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, subscribe for more videos, and just kind of see Rocco's journey, because you're going to see more of him.